How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and we're back with another top 25 ranking series. This time we're ranking the top 25 defenders in the NBA heading into next season. This is going to be an awesome kind of project, breaking it into 5 parts as like the prospect series, and this is all my opinion. I will explain my defensive philosophy throughout this video, but it's definitely different than some people. And yeah, these are just the top 25 most valuable defenders in the NBA to me. So let's get into it. Like, comment, subscribes, all that. I would really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 10K by the end of the year, so let's make that happen. Anyways, at number 25, we have Scotty Barnes. I recently received a nice death threat on Twitter, saying that I hate Scotty Barnes or something. So here you go. Here you go. All you had to do was ask. No, but I really did omit Scotty from my original list I posted on Twitter that got people up in arms. But I think I should have included him, and I really did kind of appreciate the steps he's made on defense this year, where Scotty, his rookie year was super, and rookie and like sophomore year was super miscast to me as like a primary point of attack defender. That's just never been his skill set. He's not the quickest guy laterally changing directions. Even at Florida State in college, this was a big weakness, staying in front of quicker players, and it was just a lot of like really weird errors and moments where Scotty's like controller would just turn off, or he wouldn't be able to kind of even recover and contest with his awesome tools. But year 3 saw, and thank God for Darko, finally moving him back to the position he was so dominant at in high school and AAU as like a weak side help rim protector. And Scotty was one of the best shot blockers in the league this year, especially among non-centers. And he is the best rim defender on the Raptors. He's up there with Pirtle. He and Pirtle are honestly a pretty good rim defending duo. But Scotty now can like park himself at the rim, rise up, quickly block with his length. Like, this is what makes Scotty special. Like, his combination of the movement skills in terms of like going forward and backwards with his incredible feel for the game and stuff as a rim protector. Like, he was even pretty good as a drop big at times this year. The versatility is really nice. Like, active with his hands, barking out stuff to his teammates, stunting and recovering and forcing a turnover there. Like, this is impressive stuff that Scotty was not doing early in his career. And like I said, swooping in from the weak side to block shots is Scotty's specialty. Like, oh my goodness, that was absolutely mean right there. Yeah, Scotty like kind of gets beat here, but he's shading to Pirtle, and he's going to take the next pass, the explosion, the verticality. Rim protection to me is so important for evaluating defense just because of how valuable getting to the paint is, right? That's everything in basketball. Scoring at the paint and, using the paint to create opportunities elsewhere. And Scotty's ability to cover that from the perimeter especially is why I value him so highly. And I definitely value individual on-ball defense a little less just because I think it's so much of a help game, really. And Scotty's still not the greatest point of attack defender of all time. Like, he'll be a little sluggish changing directions. Like, he won't exactly lock in all the time on the ball, but he definitely has improved there. Like, this is a really nice rep against Shea where Shea ends up scoring, but you can see Scotty actually like sitting down and sliding and changing directions, unlike he was in those clips as a rookie, and stops on a dime, gets his hand up. That's a great contest, but Shea is gonna do what Shea does. And when Scotty does get beat on the ball, you're seeing him recover a lot more nowadays, where he'll like sprint back and go for a block with his awesome length, which usually he can get because he's a freak athlete, incredibly fluid in a straight line, like I said. So Scotty really kind of imposing his will as a defender this year was great to see. Like, it's rare you see players kind of reinvent themselves on defense and kind of take command of their physical tools in a way Scotty did this year, and I think he deserves a ton of praise. I think he's a borderline like elite defender. Would expect him to keep getting better. Scotty Barnes, 25th best defender in the league, and 24 we are going to go with Isaac Okoro, and I don't remember exactly why there's an... No, just kidding. Isaac Okoro is later in the list. We're going with Isaiah Hartenstein, now of the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a little spoiler for, I believe, the next one. Hartenstein had a breakout defensive year with the Knicks, got a big contract from OKC, and deservedly so. At like 7'2", he is a crazy good rim protector. Like I said, rim protection is so valuable, and he did it at a really high level this year. Like, the timing, the verticality, all of that is so damn good, and the way that I think I got poked in the eye there, but the way that Hartenstein is able to protect the rim, not only with his size and his height, but with his instincts and his feel for the game, like his help defense, which I value so much. And bigs get an inherent bump, right? Because that's just the most valuable defensive position. They anchor the paint, they cover the most space, they block shots. That's just kind of how defense really is these days, and pretty much has always been, right? But Hartenstein has incredibly quick hands. He's not jumpy at all. Like, immediately reacts to this LeBron no look, like does not fall for it one bit, turns to AD and swipes his shot away before he can even go up. Hartenstein is just a brilliant defensive big, and he's pretty mobile as well. He's not like a special mobility guy, and he can be exploited, which is why he's, in the bottom part of this list and not the top parts, right? Probably like the lower end of the elite defenders, but immediately recognizes what's going on in front of him the second before Maxey even crosses the three-point line, gets in position, stays vertical, contests the shot. Maxey ends up missing. Like, the Hart is just so damn good. And like I said, he's not he's not just a guy who you park at the rim. He obviously can do that, but look at him like roaming on the weak side here and breaking up this lob to Jonathan Isaac. He will do wing defensive stuff as a true center, and that is really rare and valuable. But as I said, he does have some limitations in terms of changing directions. My goat mouse turner cooked right there. Like when you ask him to like sprint and close out and change directions, he's not perfect, and I think teams can definitely exploit that. But most of these defenders towards the bottom of the list are going to have at least one or two somewhat exploitable weaknesses. And I say somewhat, right? Because for every play like that, we have one like this where he closes out to Franz Wagner, flips his hips, and contests or actually gets a block there. Like, Hartenstein is a legit all-around defensive center, and I'm so excited to see him in OKC this year. We're going to see quite a few more OKC players on this list, not in this episode, but in future episodes. And Hartenstein's ability to obviously protect the paint, but be a more like a stronger guy than Chet can provide, right? While also being really smart and mobile. Like, so many different ways you can deploy iHart. You can play him higher up in the pick and roll. You can play him lower in the pick and roll. You can have him as like a roamer. You can park him with the basket as a primary rim protector. Like, his versatility to me speaks for itself, and who knows, maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid too much and he's going to regress outside of New York. Like, this was kind of a defensive breakout year for him. He's always been good, but not this good. But I'm buying stock. 24th best defender in the league, that is Isaiah Hartenstein. And as I tried to say before, the 23rd best defender in the league is Isaac Okoro, who, as I said before, I don't really value point of attack defense super highly, just because it's like even in situations like these, it's such a team game. Help is everywhere, and the best players are so good that like basically nobody can stop them. But Isaac Okoro is one of those special point of attack defenders who has this rare combination of movement skills, length, strength, instincts on the ball. Like, he guards everyone. He guarded Paolo and Franz a bunch in the playoffs. Here he is guarding Jaylen Brown in the playoffs. How many players in the league can do this to Jaylen Brown? Like, Jaylen Brown makes living bumping guys out of the way and finishing, but Okoro does not move. Like, he sticks to glue. He sticks like glue to Brown, hangs on, blocks his shot. Like, Okoro's ability to guard all different kinds of players on the ball, as well as his ability to fly and chase through screens. I value screen navigation a lot, probably similarly to on-ball D, just because, like, think about it. Basically, every possession in basketball, or a lot of them, have a screen involved, right? Someone's setting a screen, whether it's a flare, a pin down, on the ball, off the ball. So being able to navigate those, to communicate, to get through, and Okoro's foot speed, his agility, his strength allows him to whip through screens and just totally blow up actions, especially against teams like the Kings that rely on a lot of this like pitch motion stuff. Okoro is super well equipped to handle that. Here he is running with Fox, stops on a dime, blocks his floater. Like, we've seen him guard everyone from Jaylen to Fox to Paolo. Like, this is what Okoro does. He locks guys up, and I really do think that's a valuable thing. Okoro's reason for not being higher is he's just like not a super impactful off-ball defender. He is more prone to mistakes than a lot of the players on this list, I would say, in terms of off-ball stuff. Like, he'll get backdoor cuts, just zoning out. He doesn't have the most incredible awareness off the ball, and he's not like a prolific weak side rim protector or anything. Like he'll be standing at the rim a lot of the times, and I feel like he has like the tools and some of the instincts to make plays, but he just won't make aggressive rotations towards the rim. That's not to say he's a bad off-ball defender. Okoro's freakishly strong hands really help him in this department, where he can like sink down here. This is a perfectly read play right here. He's helping the helper beautifully, rips down, and you can see the wingspan, the timing, the hand placement. All of that is skill, right? I feel like people, part of my purpose for making this series as well is just like to kind of really bring more light to like the nuances of defense, and that defense is really about skill, and there's so many ways guys can be impactful defenders, like jumping passing lanes, playing Okoro. But yeah, Okoro is a fantastic player, one of the rare on-ball defenders, and like we'll have a few more on-ball focused guys later on this list. But I think Okoro is really special enough to crack this list. I think he played at an all-defense level last year, and it is absurd to me that he doesn't have a contract. I know that he has major offensive limitations. I get it, but he's young, and he is truly special on the defensive end. I think that's worth investing in. Still very young, 23rd best defender in the league. 22nd is one that I feel a little bad about, and that's Nick Claxton. 2 years ago, he had a Defensive Player of the Year type year, and on a terrible Nets team this year, his impact dips a little bit, but the tools are special. He is one of the best switch bigs in the league. Out on Colin Sexton, you can just see the fluidity, the movement skills. He is one of the fastest and lightest of foot bigs in the entire league. Maybe a tiny bit short for true center size, but like, how many guys in the league 6'10 plus, right, can flip his hips, stick with Brunson, not like fall for the foul baiting and like when he changes direction? There aren't a lot of bigs who can contain on the perimeter the way that Nick Claxton does. And look at this walling off Denny in the clutch, blocking his shot with his left. Like, Claxton's ability to rise quickly while under contact is such an impressive trait. And he's also an amazing weak side rim protector as well. Claxton maybe less of a true like primary rim protectors, like some of the players we'll see much deeper into this list, but he is really good at like rotating and covering space, and this is just an awesome play. One of those like, this is why bigs are more valuable, because the elite ones do everything. Shading, scoot to the baseline, isn't overreacting, immediately notices the pass and the cut, flips his body around and knocks the ball away. It's not just the athleticism, right? He's so skilled in terms of like his timing and his hand placement, and then just like swooping in from the weak side, obviously there to just jump up and block that shot. But this past year, I'd say Claxton, like, the Nets were such a disaster on both ends of the floor, defense especially though, where I think it makes sense that Claxton was kind of zoned out a lot of the time. Like, he wasn't reacting as quickly as he's capable of, and, you know, he'd get dunked on by some bigger guys. And I think that, like, overall there were just nights where he wasn't really having it, and he wasn't necessarily putting forth, like, his best defensive effort. But I don't think there's anything that would suggest his skill or ability declining. And I think whenever the next time he's on a relevant, good team he's going to show people that he's an elite defender again. And I think it might be a little cowardly to have him this low after being a legitimate, like, all-defense depoy contender level guy 2 years ago. Like, he still is that player. I just want to see it again. And yeah, like I said, maybe cowardly, but Claxton's special, like, versatility, ground coverage is a skill I value so much. And talking about ground cover, let's get to our last guy of the video, 21st best defender in the league, and that is Aaron Gordon, who to me has been the anchor of this really solid, you know, to good Denver defense over their title guys. And like, he was one of the few players that actually gave Anthony Edwards problems in the playoffs. Like, KCP wasn't doing great, Jamal wasn't doing great, Brown wasn't doing great, but Gordon actually has like the strength and the speed to run with a ton of different guys, and he is another one of these versatile defensive chess piece forwards, which seem like they're, you know, we're gonna have more of them on the list, where he's sliding with Karl Anthony Towns, has the strength to legitimately bully centers, and then switches on to Gobert and easily blocks his shot. Gordon is one of the better on-ball defenders in the league, I'd say pretty comfortably. I have vivid memories of him doing nasty things to Kevin Durant last year in the playoffs. And again, we see him, Ant cannot turn the corner and get downhill against him. Good stunt from KCP, who KCP was a very close cut to this list. I think he's deserving of a mention as well. Aaron Gordon, just not going to let Ant get downhill. But I think the maybe even more special stuff that Gordon does as a weak side defender, because Jokic is a good defender and has turned himself into an impactful guy, but it's not as like a traditional paint protector, right? That's Gordon's job, to swoop in from the weak side, use his great bounce and instincts and timing, like reading the floor to make these plays and cover the space. And I think this kind of like ground coverage and mistake correction almost is what has made Gordon like the elite upper echelon defender he is. Like, look at how much space he has to cover here on this rotation and still ends up getting down and blocking Terrence Mann. Like, that's just all his speed and his athletic gifts and his body control and all of that. If I had to identify a weakness with Gordon's defense that keeps him a little lower, we're not going to do it yet, though. That's a great job just like reading this past the cut. Such a smart off-ball defender. Like, the combination of physical tools at the point of attack and off-ball feel is absurd. He is a bit clunky when it comes to like changing directions in space, and I do think against teams that pass a lot and that really space the floor, that can be a bit of a limiting factor, where Gordon like is just a little clunky changing directions. Like, his feet can be kind of heavy when it comes to opening his hips and like really stopping on a dime and turning, and that's pretty understandable for a guy who's built like he is. But it's not like Gordon is like always doing this. Like, he will get bumped at times, and like I said, this is probably an offensive foul, or it might be an offensive foul, but point being, he tends to struggle against like quick changes of directions on the perimeter, which just kind of gives him like a way to be exploited, I guess, on the defensive end. But Gordon is a legitimate defensive weapon. He is versatile. He's great on the ball. He doesn't have major weaknesses, I'd say, and he has this ability to, maybe he's not like your anchor of an elite defense, but as like a defensive two, right? A guy who can be your primary on-ball defender on like wing and bigger sized guys, and as well as like this real off-ball paint protector. Gordon, I think, is totally worthy of being like one of the best defenders in the league, and has been for quite some time, and deserves his flowers to me. But those are the first five. Let me know what you think, and let me know who you think is going to be later. I have some quite controversial maybe takes in here, or omissions, or I don't know if any of this has been controversial so far. I don't really think so, but who knows. Anyways, have a great day, and thank you for watching.